Hi again, and welcome to another Zen in 10 movement moment. We call it that, or movement snack. Makes it sound like it's bite-sized, something we can manage. So once again today, I'm going to ask you to have a couple of tennis balls. You can grab a baseball or something a little firmer if you want. Just some toys we might already have laying around the house that we can do some different things with. Today, I'm actually going to start with rubbing this one on the bottom of my foot. You can use the tennis ball if the baseball is a little too much, but I'm going to have a seat, okay, and take the baseball. You can do this with a golf ball too, but a golf ball is a lot harder on the bottom of your foot. We get so much sensory information coming through the bottom of our feet, and being that we wear shoes so often, we tend to lose some of that. There's a lot of nerve endings down there, and sometimes if you've got something knotted up in your foot, that can translate all the way up your body, cause you to compensate your movement patterns, and end up even throwing the back out or having some pain in your hip, or even all the way up to your upper back, your neck. So I want you to just roll on the bottom of your foot. Put as much or as little pressure on that as you want to, but you want to spend some time around the heel. Of course, going back and forth on all aspects of the arch of your foot, and definitely spend some time on the front part of your foot. You've got all these little bones in the front part of your foot. And of course, focusing on breathing. You may find some spots that don't feel so great, and that's okay. Spend a little time there. Oh, my poor dog is sneezing. It is allergy season, isn't it? And after you feel like you've spent some really good time on that foot, then we'll go ahead and we'll switch to the other foot. But if you find a spot in there that just kind of feels like you need to get it to release, just spend a couple of seconds going back and forth over that spot, a little extra friction, and kind of play with the resistance on there. Again, let's go to the other side. Same thing. You want to start, of course, at the heel. Cover all aspects of the inside and outside of your arch. You may very well feel that one side is much tighter than the other. And of course, that's totally normal as well. We all have a dominant side, and we tend to favor one side and use one side more without even realizing it most of the time. Again, definitely spend some time on the front of the foot where all those little bones are. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, my right side is the much tighter side. And after we've spent some time on the feet, today I'm going to go into the calf a little bit. So you can decide if you want to use the tennis balls or if you want to use the baseball. The tennis balls will definitely be a little bit more forgiving. So with the double tennis ball, I'm going to put that underneath my calf, lift myself a little bit off the floor, and roll up and down on the back of that calf muscle. If you feel like you want a little more pressure, but you're not quite ready for the baseball, you can take your other leg and cross it over, and that's going to increase the amount of pressure that you feel on that calf muscle. You might find some spots in there that you didn't even know you had. Again, if you find a spot that's a little bit tight, a little knotted up, spend an extra minute or two there. You can lift yourself right off the ground if you want to, but you don't have to. You can keep your butt on the ground and just use your hands to help you slide back and forth over that ball. And when you feel like you've got enough time on that one, you can spend as much or as little time as you want. I just want to be mindful of your time and not take too much of it today. Okay, so switch to the other side. Again, as much or as little pressure as you want. Make sure you get down around your Achilles and go all the way up the whole length of that calf muscle. You may even want to go a little bit to the outside and a little bit to the inside, trying to get the muscle that's between your calf and your tibia called the soleus. It kind of sticks out on, in between. So again, you can do that with one foot on the floor if you want more pressure. Put the other leg right on top of that. The tennis ball also works pretty well for getting underneath our hamstrings. So same thing, you're gonna go right on top of it. If you want a little more pressure, put that other leg on top and roll the length of the hamstring right up into that glute muscle. There, roll it right up into that glute. I've got company. I bet you have company at home too. That's lovely, isn't it? All right, and let's switch to the other leg. And then we're gonna go into our hip rotators again in a slightly different way this time. This one's just going up and down the length of that hamstring. Of course, if you really like to in the quads like we did last time, you're welcome to do that as well. Now that you discovered how great the tennis ball massage is. So you may find a spot in there, go on the lateral aspect as well as the medial aspect of your leg. You may find some things in there that you didn't even know you had. Okay, then I'm going to take my leg and I'm going to cross it like I'm making a figure 4 with my leg. And I'm then going to go up on top of the tennis ball in that glute. What that does is opens up those hip rotators a little bit. And you can go around wherever you feel like you got tight spots in there. Once again, I'm going to bet you're going to find some things you didn't even know were there. When you come across a nugget, something that's tight, spend a little extra time right there. And just kind of go back and forth over that spot. Breathing deeply, that's really important. Try not to tense up. When you find a spot that's a little bit tender, see if you can take some deep breaths and try to relax. Because if you're really tense, it's not going to work. It won't release. You have to try to let yourself melt into it a little bit, even though it doesn't feel fantastic. And when you feel like you've spent enough time on that side, come on down and let's go over to the other side. The same thing. I'm going to get on top of it, cross my legs into the figure 4. Which again, that really opens up the hip flexors a little bit. Or I'm sorry, the hip rotators. I said that wrong. And you're going to just allow those 2 tennis balls to go around the entire circumference of that glute muscle, all along the side. Finding any tight spots, making sure you're breathing. Again, you may find some spots that are much more tender than you anticipated initially. Spend a little time in there, really letting those open up. All right. And after we're done with that, for today, I'm going to put these aside just for a second. I'm going to have you lie on your back. And this is called a hip windshield wiper. You're going to put your feet up and let your legs go to one side and then to the other side. Trying to keep your arms steady right where they are. Just loosening up those hip muscles. Okay, we'll just do one more to each side in the interest of time. But if that feels really good for you, you feel free to keep going once we're done. And last one to this side for right now. All right. Cool. Well, thank you again for joining our Zen in 10 movement break. Come back next time for another quick mental refresh and hopefully loosening up some of those body parts that are getting tight from sitting at your desk. See you next time.